flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining light so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste, leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream, this is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might, push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight, racing on with all our might. Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining life so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Thrill the place, thrill the place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste, leads us closer to first place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. In this high-octane haste, every corner, every taste, leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream, this is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might, push the
Woo! Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we go. Ready to rock and roll, ready to duke it out here from Nashville Superspeedway. Sorry about the late start here, ladies and gentlemen. Just got into the house from doing some work as we are quickly green flag racing here. Lap number 1 underway, and it's the 27 ride of Nick Gardner out in front and looking to put that Napa Auto Parts ride into victory lane. Chris Gilbert there in second with Jacob Brew back in third. Josh Healy there in fourth with Nicholas Snyder rounding out our top 5, working to the inside here with Joshua Ledoux. Doing that beautiful third track junkies number 38 ride, falls back into that 6th position as Brian Juke, Zach Michael, Brad Lane, Stephen Hines, door to door out there on the racetrack. This is the battle for the 9th and 10th position as the Celsius number 16, the Bucky's ride of Alex Pelican, just on the outside of the top 10 looking in. Tim Blankenbackler with a great start here, third up in the 6th position. Unfortunately for the Juke Joints, French for Pence ride, he's fallen back about 6 spots now on the racetrack and now falls into position number 12. Brandon Domingue right there with Nate Maurer, the 91 of Tyson Pankow there in 15th. John McCullich there in 16th with Robert McDonald, Mr. Trench out there in the comedy night at the Juke Joint. The 31 machine rolls in 17th right now as Kevin Woody, number 50 rider Robert Howard, will climb there as well as John Herbert, Matt Langley, Mark Beverly, Ryan Peterson there in that Ring Power Sports number 469 ride, Bobby Blair, Kevin Winker, and Konchersberger rounding out our top 26 as we do see a bunch of drivers head down pit road here. Some pass-through penalties here for Nick Gardner, pass-through penalties for the 14 and Nathaniel Ostrowski, Cal Turbeville, and Neil Lapidus. Unfortunately, early on, they all have to head down pit road, and they're all going to be at risk of potentially going a lap down, and few of them are definitely going to go a lap down early in this race. Is Jeff McJeffrey? What's good, Jeff? Jeff says, yo, kick the tires and light the fires, baby. Let's go, he says, as Forrest, the Juke Cat, coming in with that share on the stream. The Juke Joint coming in with that share as well as Friends for Pets coming in, showing the love here in this one. Jeff McJeffrey, Denver Henderson, Lisa McDonald, and Kevin Winker all coming in with the reactions as Leon coming in says, yo, let's go number 31. And Lisa McDonald says, let's go Robert McDonald, cheering on Trench and there on the speedways. Now we do see Chris Gilbert continue that race lead as Nicholas Snyder, our pole sitter and our early race leader, unfortunately had to go down pit side there early on in this race, and now set back behind the pace here in this one. And some wicked racing action here in this one as Tower Operator says hashtag Winker Nation. Sean Arita says let's go Winker, hashtag Winker Nation. Jason LePan says miss everyone traveling for work. The field would really be in trouble if I was there. They definitely would be. They definitely would be. LePan, I thought this was going to be the race for you, man. I thought this was going to be the one you were going to win here this afternoon. And some great racing already, some amazing action in there on the speedway. Lots of good hard green flag laps as Chris Gilbert continues to lead the way. Jacob Group there in second. Josh Ely in third with Nicholas Snyder. Joshua Ledoux rounding out our top 5. Zach Michael back there in sixth with Brian Chu, Alex Pelican, Brad Lane, and Stephen Hines rounding out our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Early on, a good run here for that 24 ride up inside the top 10 is Brandon DeMay, Nate Maurer, and Tyson Pankow now into 13th as Tim Blankenbeckler unfortunately continues to slide backwards here. That 10 ride all the way back 8 positions. Now sits in 14th as is Fretz for Pence, the Juke joint teammate right there behind him. That is Robert McDonald in that 15th spot. So McDonald has been slowly but surely working his way up towards the front here as well. Looks like that comedy night at the Juke joint ride really starting to find its groove out there on the racetrack. It's John McCoolidge, Kevin Woody, Robert Howard, John Herbert, and Matt Langley rounding out our top 20 as we did see Frank Ranger run into some issues here. Frank Ranger Jr. unfortunately starting down pit side. Looks like he's just going to take this truck right back down to the infield, and I do believe he's going to tow it right back down pit road. So tough break early on for the Ranger Creative Concepts. Number 17 ride is definitely not the way he wanted things to get started here this evening, and already a few laps down out there on the racetrack. As we see the Juke joint, number 78 ride now up and into this fight. That is the 78 machine of Matt Langley trying to work himself up inside the top 20 on the racetrack. Bobby Blair back there in that Ridge Power Sports. KR Gutters, a number 75 ride, followed by Ryan Peterson there in 24th. K-Dub, Kevin Winker in that Muleburger Custom Homes, number 42. They're in that 25th position with Ed Kochersberger and his beautiful Tech Warrior, number 19, ride back in 26. There we see the 27 ride back in 27th. That is Nick Garner, who is our pole sitter and our early race leader. And unfortunately for this number 27 ride, having to make that pass-through penalty, and all of a sudden finds himself about 26 seconds back of our race leader here, and he's not too far away from potentially going a lap down out there on the racetrack. Good news is that he's got a very fast hot rod and could hopefully stay on the lead lap unless we see this continue to keep on going green flag and that car start to fall off. Potentially could go a lap down out there on the speedway. For Cal Turbeville unfortunately going a lap down in that number 64 ride. He's a lap down. Nathaniel Osterwhisky there also a lap down. Neil Lapidus down a lap here early on as well. They're looking for some early caution flags, hoping to see them get the wave arounds, the lucky dogs, and back onto the lead lap, especially for this OSOCOutdoors.com. Fretz for Pets, number 26. That Juke joint ride goes back in 30th. Frank Ranger Jr. unfortunately there for that Ranger Creative Concepts ride. He is multiple laps down, now back in 31st. And for Kyle Van Tassel, never made it out onto the racetrack to start this race as Chris Gilbert continues to lead the way. Gilbert out in front in that Jegs.com number 45 ride. Jacob Group there in second. Nicholas Snyder back there in third. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the Bronco Race Designs 133 here this evening. The Bronco Race Designs, huge shout out there to Bronco Race Designs for coming on board, sponsoring this race, and being a part of the HCK Beagles family. Huge shout out there to our sponsors here this evening over at Bronco Race Designs. Go check out their amazing work. And drop them a follow, drop them a couple likes on their page, and make sure you definitely jump in there and get some amazing designs created for yourself, your race car, your team, or anybody else. As out in front, it is Chris Gilbert, Jacob Krug, Nicholas Snyder trying to hunt him down, as we do see Joshua Healy back there in fourth, Joshua Ledoux there in fifth, as it's not Josh the Triple J out there on the speedway here this evening. Normally we see Josh Peacock. Unfortunately for Peacock, he's not out there to join this fun, as right now two of his Triple J teammates in those beautiful dirt track junkies rides sit in position number 4 and 5 on the racetrack. Zach Michael back there in 6th, with Alex Pelican up 10 spots early in this race as the Celsius Bucky's number 16 ride rolls there in 7th. Brad Lane in the race line number 1 there in 8th. Ryan Chu has fallen back a position in that TRD Pro in number 51, and he sits back in the 9th position with Brandon Deming in that number 10 ride, or in the 10th position in the 77 machine. Nate Maurer, Stephen Hines, Tyson Pankow, and Tim Blankenbeckler still rounding out our top 14 here. So Tim kind of settled in now in that 14th position, looking to try to find another spot out there as he's looking to try to work his way around Pankow out there on the speedway. No, Robert McDonald would love to try to gain a few more spots here as well and keep on driving his way up towards the top 10 early on, up 10 spots out there on the racetrack. Kevin Woody there in 16th. Good to see Woody having a good run out there in that McDonald's number 23. And for Mark Beverly, up 11 positions early in this race. Right now, he is that hard charger in the Bronco Race Designs number 3 machine. Beautiful looking paint scheme, beautiful looking ride out there on the speedway. And for the Bronco Race Designs crew coming on board and being part of the show, part of the family here this evening, and looking absolutely amazing there on that number 3 machine here this evening. Is John Herbert back there in 18th. We do see John McCullough, Jane Robert Howard rounding up our top 20 after on the racetrack. Is early on some good hard green flag laps. These guys putting together a good run early on here this evening. Almost 20 laps into this race already. Is my boy Dimitri Curtis. Dimitri says, come on, Trench, cheering on Trench here this evening, as Janelle says, go Team HB Motorsports, hashtag Ridge Power Sports and KR Gutters. Cheryl says, may God grant you the strength to endure in the race, to endure the race. Let's go, as Cheryl says, may God grant you the strength to endure in the race to conquer the race. Let's go, number 50, Robert Howard. Cheering on that 50 ride out there on the speedway right now as we see these drivers continue to battle in our first caution flag of the day. So our first caution flag will be displayed here on lap number 20 as we take a look back at the W Energy Juke joint number 78 ride. Sends it into the corner. Unfortunately, just looks like this car pushes up the racetrack and up and into the outside fence. Unfortunately, heavy contact there into that wall. Gets stopped on the racetrack as soon as this car gets stopped there on the speedway. And unfortunately, gets that caution flag to fly here. A tough break there for him as he's stopped up there on the outside lane. We're not in slow-mo. He is still just sitting there as there goes the 27 ride. And unfortunately, it looks like our race leaders are going to go around him here and put him a lap down as there they go. And unfortunately having issues. I'm not sure what happened. Looked like they wheel disconnected or something right there for the 78 rider. Internet went out, something happened to him as he just sends it into the corner. Then all of a sudden this thing just straightens out up into the outside fence. The brakes are on and he just comes to a stop up there, and unfortunately stops up there on the racetrack. Has to take that car down pit side here. So a tough break there for the 78 ride. Definitely not the way he wanted things to go here. For Matt Langley, still down pit road here. Doesn't look like that car has moved an inch as of yet. For everyone else, it gives them an opportunity to come down pit road and try to get some fuel and some tires. And for drivers like Nick Garner, able to rejoin the rear of the field here. And for Cal Turboville, Turboville is going to get that lucky dog. The free pass goes to that 64 ride. So great break there for Cal as he's able to get back onto the lead lap, back into the battle here now. No Nathaniel Ostrowiski, Neil Lapidus, they're staying out here as well. They're looking to get the wave around, trying to get back onto the lead lap as we do see John McCulloch. McCulloch did not come down pit side here. So McCulloch staying out. That unfortunately traps the 26 of Neil Lapidus back there behind him as now he pulls out in front of our pace truck here. I'm not sure what the plan is here for the Pop Smoke 21 ride, as he is our race leader, and for a couple of those drivers still potentially the opportunity to get the wave arounds here, as I know Nathaniel Ostrowiecki and Lapidus both hoping to get that free pass the Lucky Dog back onto the lead lap here this evening, as Cal Tuberville going to take advantage of it. He'll head down pit road and get some fuel and tires into his ride. We'll have to wait and see if McCulloch decides to come down pit road or not. Doesn't look like he will, so he's going to stick with the older tires out there on the racetrack and go with track position here. We'll have to wait and see how this kind of plays out for him here in this one. Is what's good, Mark Simon's coming in, showing the love here in this one. Drop that thumbs up here on the broadcast, as ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you came here for a show. Well, here you go, as we're going to get ready to go back to battle. We're going to get ready to duke it out here again this evening, as these drivers all looking to capture the checkered flag here in the Bronco Race Designs 113 here at Nashville Superspeedway with the Beagles Cup Series. Each and every one of these competitors getting ready to rumble, getting ready to roll here once again now for McCulloch. Is the control car on the older tires, so we'll have to wait and see if there's any tire spin or anything else. And for the 45 rider, Chris Gilbert, you really got to be on your tippy toes. You got the fresher tires, you got the better car, and if you get onto the throttle too quick and beat this 21 ride and look like you jump the start, you could potentially get a penalty and get sent down pit road here during the green flag conditions. So trying to minimize any kind of mistakes or any penalties out there on the racetrack, and just trying to keep your nose clean out there on the speedway is going to be the best way to try to put yourself up into a solid finish here this evening. As we did see Mark Beverly, up into 6. John Herbert right there behind him. Both drivers gained a ton of positions there down pit road, so we'll have to wait and see if they took potentially tires or no tires, or what the plan was there for both of those cats, but they have gained a lot of track position. Here we go, back to green flag racing. It's a great restart there for the 21, as John McCulloch looking to try to keep all these drivers back there at base. We're already 2-3 wide. Look out at 87 up the racetrack. John Herbert unfortunately gets shoved up the speedway right there. And all of a sudden slides from inside the top 10 now all the way back into that 16th position on the speedway. He's going to get that Ridge Power Sports KR Gutters ride pointed back in the right direction and rolling back towards the front of the field, as it did not take long for Chris Gilbert to continue that 21 ride of John McCulloch. McCulloch is going to fall back here as we see the caution flag come back in. So the caution flag will fly here again. Let's take a look and see what happens, as it looks like Ed Koshersberger potentially running into some problems out here on the racetrack. Let's take a look at the 19 ride, as he's going to head down through corner number 4 right here, and there's contact in front on the 50 ride sideways there on the racetrack, and Ed's going to have to go down through the infield, and with that 50 ride sliding sideways there on the speedway, losing rapid pace there, unfortunately for Robert Howard. That's going to send him backwards, and that's going to send a lot of these drivers around him losing the top track position. There's some contact right there between him and the 23 machine. So contact here as he's rolling to the outside here of this 23 ride. Let's see if we can get another angle at this one, as unfortunate contact as the two of them battle down and into corner number 3 and 4. The 50 ride rolling the outside groove here. Looks like he's about to clear that 23, but the 23 getting a little bit better of a middle of the corner. Starts to slide up the racetrack here. One's kind of coming down, one's kind of coming up, and they make contact into that left rear quarter panel. Unfortunately, that's what gets the 50 ride sideways and spinning there on the racetrack. The 64 Cal Tuberville just able to avoid him here, and so does it the 19 and the 42 of Kevin Winker, as Winker and Ed Koshersberger almost got some pretty solid damage out of that one. As cautions, reading cautions, we ran the first 20 laps virtually clean out there on the speedway. No issues, not a whole lot of contact or anything else, and then we get the caution flag out for the 78 ride of Matt Langley, and quickly we see another caution flag flying out there on the speedway. As my boy Justin Johnson, what's good, JJ? Justin coming in, showing the love. How are you, brother? Justin coming in, dropping that heart reaction here on the broadcast is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today as these drivers get ready to rumble, get ready to go back to battle here in this one. Chris Gilbert will now be our control car as he has the race lead, and down through the Geico restart zone. The next time by, he'll be the first car to fire there through that restart box. It's Nicholas Snyder, Josh Healy, Brad Lane now up inside the top 4. Here is Jacob Grube there in 5th. The 34 is Zach Michael. The 3 of Mark Beverly. The 16 ride of Alex Pelican. The 38 of Joshua Ledoux. And the 51 of Brian Juke, rounding out our top 10 on the racetrack. Nate Maurer there as well in that DSR electric ride. He rolls in the 11th position. Has the number 24. That's going to be Stephen Hines. He's outside Bobby Blair. The 77 of Brandon Ming, John Herbert back there in 15th. Then we see Tyson Pankow, Tim Blankenbeckler, Will Klein, Kevin Woody, and Robert Howard rounding out our top 50 out there on the racetrack. As Jessica Anna says, Winker Nation, go get 'em, Tigers, cheering on K-Dub here this evening as Winker a little deeper in the field here. That Muhlenberger Custom Home Sonic Graphic Designs ride back in 25th and looking to try to keep on racing his way to the front of the field. As here we go, the pace car down pit road. We'll get ready to go back to green flag racing as Chris Gilbert has control of this restart. We'll get ready to see what he can do here as down through the Geico restart zone. He is going to fire first and gets a great launch. Quickly slides up and clears that number 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder, and that may bring that 83 of Josh Ely right on through as well. As Ely down low looking to take position number 2 away from Snyder here in this restart, and unfortunately now they're going to battle door to door, and that's exactly what Chris Gilbert wants to see. Wants to see them duking it out back there behind him and allowing him to try to run away with this one as apart out there on the speedway. Everybody running oh so close to one another as Mark Beverly trying to hang on here as that Bronco Race Designs number 3 ride just battling outside the top 5 right now, and they're 3 wide down here in corner number 1. 3 wide racing here at Nashville Superspeedway, and unfortunately for the 3 ride, he gets split and a couple of drivers roll right on and around him and send him back into the 8th position. Now he's got the 38 of Joshua Ledoux, the 51 of Mr. Brian Juke right there on his back bumper, and here comes that 971 of Nate Maurer. Maurer trying to race his way up and into the top 10 here this evening. As we look back a little farther, John Herbert, they're kind of on the same strategy there. Herbert and that number 3 rider, Mark Beverly, as they did find a ton of speed, a ton of time down on pit road, and unfortunately, I'm not sure if they took 2 tires or if they took fuel only, but nonetheless, they were able to gain a ton of position out there on the speedway. And then look at this battle. This angle of cars, everyone just trying to find their way around this number 3 ride. Unfortunately for Josh Ledoux, he's going to fall back a couple spots there as he was trying to figure out a way up on the high side, just could not get around that 3 ride. Finally gets down to the inside, looking to try to clear him and go back to work and see if he can race that 38 back up inside the top 10. As here comes Brandon Ming, here comes Tyson Pankow, his Dirt Track Junkies teammate there in position number 14. As John Herbert running at our top 15 as one of his beautiful Ridge Power Sports KR Gunners teammates there behind him is that 75 ride of Bobby Blair. Will Klein and his Dirt Track Junkies right there in 17th with Tim Blankenbeckler in that Brent Spur Pence, the Juke Joint number 10 ride there in 18th. Nick Gardner has navigated his way back up into the 19th position and still trying to keep on working his way towards the front of the field here. Our early race leader, our pole sitter, who had to make that early pit stop down pit road here in lap number 2 or 3, and unfortunately had fallen all the way back into the 47th position. Was almost 8 laps down, but these couple caution flags have him right back into the battle. As Kevin Winker now trying to work onto the back bumper here of that 10 ride is kicked up and into 20th now on the racetrack with Kevin Woody and Trench right there behind him. Trench in this beautiful Juke Joint. Friends for Pets, the karaoke machine out there on the speedway, the Juke Joint Comedy Night Tuesdays. Comedy Night Tuesdays. So that's right now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're not there, you might want to show up. It is Comedy Night here at the Juke Joint. You guys want to get in on the action, you guys want to get some laughs in, you got to head down to the Juke Joint for Comedy Night here every single Tuesday there at the Juke joint. You can also tune in and potentially watch Robert McDonald and see what he can do out there on the speedways. He looks to try to put himself up and into victory lane. As out there on the racetrack right now, it is still the 45 rider Chris Gilbert who continues to lead the way. Gilbert out in front with Snyder right there in tow. Brad Lane up in the third as Ely slides back and forth. And now Alex Pelican, one of our hard chargers out there on the racetrack, up 12 positions. And that lucky Celsius ride rolls down inside the top 5. Zach Michael right there behind him with Jacob Grew, Brian Chu, Nate Maurer, and Stephen Hines are top 10 out there on the racetrack. Great run here for that Black Rifle Coffee Company. Number 24 machine as he rolls there in that 10th position. Domingue right behind him as we did see another driver get the wing around the lucky dog there. Unfortunately for Neil Lapidus, he was not the lucky dog there. He's going to need another caution flag. The 14 wide on the Daniel Ostrowiski says thank you very much for that second quick caution flag there just after lap number 20. And he's able to work himself now back on the lead lap, trying to work himself up and through the field as he battles here for the 24th position with John McCulloch. As Neil Lapidus still a lap down out there on the racetrack. This OSOCOutdoors.com number 26 showing that he's got some pretty good speed, some pretty good pace. Look at that beautiful French for Pence, the Juke joint ride. That there, still a lap down, looking for that caution flag and the opportunity to get back out there. We did see Matt Langley, unfortunately, in this race, so I'm not sure what happened to Matt, but his night came to an end in a quick hurry. As Jason LePan says, John McCulloch is going to win this race. I can feel it in my groins, he says. He can feel it in his groins. He also says, go Ryan Blaney doppelganger. Wait, McCulloch looks like Ryan Blaney? Oh, man, I'll have to check that out. As Brett Winker, what's good, Brett? Brett says, let's go Winker, hashtag Winker Nation. Bridget Cool says, let's go camping, cheering on the hashtag Winker Nation ride out there on the speedway as well. As we did see Nicole Winker also say, let's go Winker, hashtag Winker Nation, as we see these drivers continue to battle each and every one, continuing to fight out there on the speedway. And we do take a look back at K-Dump, Kevin Winker, unfortunately still a little deeper in the field, but he is moving forward here. That Muhlenberger Custom Homes number 42 right now up inside the top 15. Looks like he's just trying to keep pace and trying to follow this 27 right of Nick Garner back up towards the front of the field here. Now that is not a bad call out there on the racetrack. If you can try to follow this 27 right around the speedway, not really let him run away from you and try to hang with them and make some moves at the same time and race your way up towards the front of the field is definitely the spot you want to be. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ask you right now to quickly help us out. It's absolutely free to do. Helps out the stream a ton. It helps it get to more prospective viewers out there here this evening. Hit the like button on the stream right now. Whether you're watching over on Facebook or Twitch, it's absolutely free to do. Hit that like button for us right now. If it just takes a couple quick seconds, you won't miss any of the action. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button or the follow button. If you're watching over on YouTube or you're watching over on Facebook or Twitch, make sure you become part of the Peacemaker family here today. And if you haven't, jump into that comment section. Let us know who you're cheering for and who you want to see up and into victory lane here this evening as Chris Gilbert continues to lead the way. Gilbert out in front with Nicholas Snyder there in second. Brad Lane there in position number 3. Ely and Zach Michael rounding out our top 5 as Michael able to get that Rush Truck Centers number 34 line around the outside there of Alex Pelican, showing some great speed out of that 34 and moving right on and around him using the outside lane and putting himself now inside the top 5. As Pelican now has the number 18 ride, that Pop Smoke 22 ride of Jacob Groove right there on his back bumper. Brian Chu there in 8th with Nate Maurer and Stephen Hines still rounding out our top 10. Hines has a lot of fast cats. Back here behind him is Brandon Domingue, Joshua Ely, Tyson Pankow, and slowly but surely, Nick Gardner and Kevin Winker poking their nose towards that fight on the racetrack as well. Now they got a bit of a gap to try to close up here to get into that battle for that 13th, 12th, 11th and 10th position out there on the racetrack. So we'll have to wait and see if they can close that gap and race their way up towards the front of the field here once again this evening. As again, another good green flag run here for these drivers, and for each and every one of these cats out there on the speedway, they are inching closer and closer to that halfway marker here in the Bronco Race Designs 113 here at Nashville Superspeedway. As the 45 ride continues to lead the way, he's not running away with it, as that 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder hanging right there with them. Now this is a very Nicholas Snyder-esque racetrack. We've seen Snyder pick up a lot of wins in racetracks kind of this style, and he's going to be a challenge to try to hold back here throughout this evening. I'm sure at some point in time we're going to see this 5 ride navigate his way up towards the front of the field, as him and Gilbert can have about a 1.2 second, almost 1.3 second gap all the way back to our third place driver, Josh Healy. As Healy able to work himself back around Brad Lane. Unfortunately for Lane, he does slide into position number 4, and once again he'll be looking for more, as Zach Michael right there ready to pounce. Same with Alex Pelican and Jacob Grube, as Grube has still been all over the back bumper. Now taking a look down to the inside. They're going to get close right there. A little loose out of that Bucky 16 ride. We'll have to wait and see if that 18 ride can make the move and steal position number 6 away from Alex Pelican. They are still door to door back down into corner number 1 out there on the racetrack. Some absolutely amazing battle in here on the racetrack back here for that 6th position, as the Bucky's ride is not going to give up. Alex Pelican going to continue to battle here to the outside of that 18 ride of Jacob Grube. Grube, he wants to keep on moving forward, trying to put that 18 ride back up inside the top 5 here this evening. But man, he is struggling trying to make this past that 16 ride, hanging right there with them, as Chris Gilbert continues to lead the way here. Him and Nicholas Snyder continue to try to open up that race lead, continue to try to pull away here from Josh Ely. Some absolutely amazing racing action. Everyone continued to battle, as we do see Nick Gardner and Kevin Winker. They're still trying to catch up to that battle for the 13th, 14th, and 11th, 12th position there on the racetrack, as we do see Rob McDonald back there in position number 19 here. He's got that Bronco Race Designs number 3 ride right there behind him, is Mark Beverly, unfortunately on a different big track here than everybody else, and trying to save a little bit of something late in this race. And for that 3 ride, he's falling all the way back now into the 20th position, as Neil Lapidus in the 26th car. That is the first driver 1 lap down into on the racetrack. As of right now, as it could potentially be more drivers 8 lap down if we keep this green flag rolling out here on the speedway. And for Neil Lapidus, that's the last thing he wants to see. He does not want to see any of these other competitors go 8 laps down, but we still got quite a bit of time between our race leaders and the back of the pack. As here we go, the 5 ride. Taking a look down low, he was trying to hang that yellow line and looking to see if he can get a run underneath that 45 ride, trying to steal position number 1 away from Chris Gilbert here this evening. Gilbert, though, not going to give it up easily. They're going to continue to fight. They're going to continue to battle out there on the racetrack, and as they do this, they are continuing to pull farther and farther away from Josh Ely. Ely has not been able to close up to him, has not been able to reel him in, but you see Jacob Grube not only able to get around finally that 16 ride Alex Pelican, but also getting around Zach Michael and Brad Lane now. So this Pop Smoke 22 ride is starting to work his way towards the front of the field. So for Jacob Grube, starting to find another gear out there on the speedway, now trying to reel in and close that gap between himself and Josh Ely. As here we go, battle out in front, door to door for the race lead here at Nashville Superspeedway. And down across the line, looked like Chris Gilbert potentially still out in front leading this race, but it may not be for long, as that 5 rider Nicholas Snyder right down low, trying to take it away from him. They still battle door to door down into corner number 2 and back down into 3 here this evening. And it looks like that 5 ride not going to be able to carry that speed, that momentum down the back straightaway, and unfortunately falls back into that 2nd spot once again. He'll have to try to mount another challenge, look for another big run, and see if he can try to make the move and pull that trigger to get back around that 45 right here in a quick hurry. But in the same time, he's burning up his equipment. He's trying to push this truck hard, trying to make this pass, and unfortunately could be burning up those tires a lot quicker than that 45 ride. And we could start to see Gilbert potentially start to just pull farther and farther away from us. Here we go again. Chris Gilbert just this time going to pull over and allow that 5 ride to go by. So thinking better of it and making that move, but all of a sudden, here we go. Battle back down to the line. Chris Gilbert went high up on the racetrack, as we do see Snyder lead that lap, but Gilbert says, you know what, I'm not done fighting for this race lead. I want the inside lane though. Now he'll work the inside. Here's the 5 ride to the outside. Looking to clear him, looking to keep himself out in front, and now looking to try to open up a bit of a gap here and a little bit of breathing room between himself and that 45 out there on the speedway. As Gilbert rolls there in second, Jacob Grube already looking to take position number 3 away from the 83 of Josh Ely. So right now, and still laying down some absolutely wicked lap times, this number 18 ride seems to be about the fastest car out there on the speedway, and now we're starting to get into that area where fuel mileage and tire wear could play a major factor here in this race. As these drivers continue to keep on rolling, they were mostly down pit road back on lap number 21. And now we do see over 50 laps into this race. And already, this is over a 30-lap run here for these drivers. So a lot of green flag laps, and we start to see that tire fall off. And now we'll potentially start to see more and more drivers head down pit road here and make these green flag pit stops. We did see that 17 truck, oh man, heavy damage there for the Ranger Creative Concepts. Number 17 ride as he's down pit road getting that thing repaired. Unfortunately going to go more laps down here this evening. Tough break, tough start to this race for that 17 ride as the Ranger Creative Concepts park down pit road. As Nicholas Snyder out in front, Chris Gilbert now into second as here comes Jacob Grube. Grube trying to hunt them all down, looking to see if he can put himself up and into the top spot here this evening. As Ely back into position number 4, and Brad Lane rounding out our top 5. Alex Pelican there in 6 with Brian Juke, Nate Maurer, Zach Michael, and Brandon Domingue rounding out our top 10. Joshua Ledoux there in 11th, battling here now with that 27 ride as Nick Gardner has closed the gap on a couple of them and now has himself once again just on the outside of the top 10 here, looking in, knows that he needs to jump up and make a few more moves and try to hunt down that 77 ride of Brandon Domingue for that 10th position. K-Dub Kevin Wanker still just trying to follow that 27 line right on through, seeing what he's doing out there on the racetrack, trying to learn as much as he can, and also trying to race his way up towards the front of the field as K-Dub started all the way back in 29th, now up and into 14th. He's up 15 positions on the racetrack here for that Muhlenberger Custom Homes Sonic Graphic Designs number 42, and he is currently our hard charger out there on the racetrack as Snyder out in front, continuing to pull away here as now we do see Jacob Grube down low. He's looking for that second spot on the racetrack. So Grube trying to take position number 2 away from that 45 of Chris Gilbert. Gilbert still going to battle door-to-door with him here, not wanting to give it up. They continue to duke it out down the back straightaway into corner number 3. Next out of corner number 4, and it looks like Grube is going to slide up, clear that 45 ride, and now trying to block him down the front straightaway here. Is down across the line. It is that 18 of Jacob Grube, who is now in position number 2 here this evening. As we are over halfway through this race, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button. Is halfway through this race, just a little over halfway through this race. We'll jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming crank it up as these drivers laying down some absolutely amazing lap times here, laying down some good green flag runs, and we're going to start seeing some pit stops here just around the corner. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here today. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for all these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session here this evening from Nashville Superspeedway for the Bronco Race Designs 113 here at Nashville Superspeedway as Nicholas Snyder continuing to lead the way. Snyder out in front, showing these drivers that he is the car to beat here this evening. As my boy, hey, it's Kev says, sup big dog, got Sundays off, so I'll be doing the triple header on Peacemaker this weekend. Let's go, baby. That's what's up right there, brother. That's always good news up in the chat right there. As out in front, this 5 right continuing to hang on to the race lead. He came down pit road there on lap number 65. The same time we saw Jacob Groove also come down pit road. So for Snyder and Groove both coming down pit road there on that 65th lap of the race. Chris Gilbert came down pit road a couple laps later. Unfortunately gave up a lot of track position, but he does have the little bit better tires than those drivers in front of him, and he is slowly but surely chipping away at that lead. But coming down pit road, those couple laps he lost a lot of track position. He fell quite a ways back here behind those top 2 drivers, just that little bit with the older tires out there. It's about a entire 2 seconds that we saw the tire fall off there. So drivers were rolling more towards the later 31s into the 32-second lap times there with those old tires before these green flag pit stops in for our race leaders. And when they came down pit road, even though it was only for a couple laps, it was enough for them to be able to lay down a couple heaters out there on the speedway and leapfrog and put themselves deep in front of our race leader Snyder and Jacob Groove 1 and 2 on the racetrack. About a second between the two of them. A big gap, about 4 seconds, almost 5 seconds back here to our 3rd place driver, Chris Gilbert. Brad Lane there in 4th with Josh Ely and his Dirt Track Junkies Triple J09 engraving number 83 machine. They're in position number 5. Alex Pelican there in 6th with Nate Mauer, Brandon DeMay, Brian Chu, and now the Vega Ostrowiski duking it out here with Zach Michael for position number 10 as this KTM number 14 ride battling back after early on having to make that pass-through penalty. Went down a lap, was able to get a lucky dog there on that second caution flag, and right now just inside the top 10, but up inside the top 10 there for a little bit. It's got to feel like a little bit of a win in its own right for that 14 right here early in this race, being able to rebound and race his way now up and into a solid position, but he's going to fall back a little bit farther as here comes Nick Gardner. Gardner, our pole sitter in our early race leader, had that same issue. Had to go make a green flag pit stop there early on lap number 3 for their penalty from last week, and unfortunately for the 27 ride, he lost a ton of track position out there on the speedway, still trying to battle back from that, but luckily enough, he did stay on the lead lap, didn't have to stress about going a lap down, and for the 27, he is now trying to work his way back up inside the top 10. As he rolls there in 11th, just behind that number 34 right at Zach Michael. Now he does have quite a bit fresher tires than pretty much everybody else there in front of him, as a lot of these other drivers came down pit road on lap 66, lap 67, 68, came down pit road on lap number 70, so quite a bit better tires here on this 27 truck, and he is moving forward here, as we did see K-Dub Kevin Winker. He came down pit road a little later there as well, came down pit road on lap number 69, and for the 14 ride of the day, Ostrowiecki, that strategy that he was playing there, and the reason why he was so far forward and now started to fall backwards, is he came down pit road on lap number 60. So he had about 5-6 laps fresher tires than everybody else out there on the speedway, and for this number 14 ride, he was able to pick up a ton of track position, leapfrog a lot of these drivers, now just banking on a caution flag and able to keep that track position. But as this race continues to go green, he continues to fall farther and farther behind, as here comes K-Dub, one of the drivers with the better tires out there on the speedway, back in position number 15 on the speedway. Stephen Hines there in 16th, with Bobby Blair there in 7th, Mark Beverly, Rob McDonald, and Cal Turbeville running out our top 20 here on the speedway. John Herbert back in 21st, Ryan Peterson, Tim Blankenbeckler there in 23rd. John McCulloch back in 24th with Kevin Woody, now back in 25th here on the speedway. Now he is just a little bit in front of our race leaders here, trying to keep himself on the lead lap, as that is the 26 Emil Lapidus. Lapidus, I do believe, is no longer the first car one lap down out there on the speedways. That is now going to belong to this 19 ride of Ed Koshersberger. So Koshersberger, Will Klein, and Robert Howard all a lap down here, and all in position to get the lucky dog before that 26 and Neil Lapidus. And Lapidus is potentially going to go 2 laps down out there on the racetrack, and that is very, very tough to try to battle back from. You would need a lot of caution flags, not only for the drivers in front of him to get the lucky dogs and everything else, but you would need even more for him to be able to get 2 lucky dogs and get back onto the lead lap here this evening. So tough sledding right from the get-go there for the OSUC Outdoors.com number 26 machine, as that Juke joint press for Pence ride rolls back in 29. Frank Ranger there in 30th, and Matt Langley and Kyle Van Tassel bringing up the rear of the field here in this one. As we do see Kyle Van Tassel makes his way back out onto the racetrack here now for Kyle. He did miss, I want to say, about the first, I don't even know how many laps here, the first 80-something laps, I do believe he missed out there on the racetrack. So he's only rolled about 4 laps out there on the speedway, and now just trying to get some learning experience in here, trying to figure out what he can do or what he may have to do to try to get this 13 ride rolling in the next race that we may see. And for right now, he's falling farther and farther behind, as we do see the day Ostrowiecki. Ostrowiecki is going to make another green flag pit stop here. So for the ready to race KTM number 14 ride back down pit side, he's going to go a lap down there, as there goes the 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder. Snyder going to roll right around him, but now as he rolls back out onto the racetrack, could have some very, very fresh tires, as here comes the Juke joint 31 of Rob McDonald as well. The Trench headed down pit road. Another bit of a pit strategy call here out of this number 31 ride, with about 26 laps left to go here in this race. We get closer and closer to that checkered flag here in this one. These drivers are moving along. They are zooming along here this evening, getting closer and closer to our checkered flag here this afternoon, as Nicholas Snyder out in front, continuing to lead the way. Just over a second separates himself and the 18 of Jacob Grube. And then we see about 5 seconds back behind Grube, and 6 seconds now behind our race leader, Nicholas Snyder. It is Chris Gilbert who's able to hold on to position number 3. Brad Lane there in 4th, with Josh Ely back in 5th. Alex Pelican, Nate Maurer, Brian Chu, Brandon Deming, and Nick Gardner rounding out our top 10 out there on the racetrack. As Gardner still trying to hunt some of these guys down, looking to try to reel them in, as we start to see more drivers head down pit road. Here comes a couple of those Dirt Track Junkies rides, a pair of those 09 engraving machines, as that's the 91 of Tyson Pankow and his Bulletproof Motorsports ride down pit side, and the 38 machine of Joshua Ledoux down pit road here as well. So I feel a few of these drivers realize that they can't make it on fuel, and they want to take advantage of these fresh tires as soon as possible. And now we do see Chris Gilbert, our 3rd place driver. Gilbert is now going to head down pit road here as well. So Gilbert playing that strategy call here as well. Now for these drivers, the only issue is they can get put into a very, very tough position. If we roll another 5-10 laps before we start to see our race leaders come back down pit side here, unfortunately for them, that's a lot of time that they could be spending down a lap out there on the racetrack, and a caution flag could unfortunately put them in a tough hole, and a hole that they cannot dig out of for quite a while. So here comes Alex Pelican now down pit road in the Rockies. Celsius 16 right hits pit road here himself. We take a look back at that number 45 of Chris Gilbert. Looks like Gilbert right there rolling back out onto the racetrack. Unfortunately there for Chris, he does go a lap down out there on the racetrack. Now he does have some pretty good tires on this 45 run, but even here, he is still quite a ways back behind. Our race leader is Nick Gardner right in front of him here. And Gardner, he's about 12 seconds behind our race leader, Nicholas Snyder. So gonna have to try to gain a lot of ground there on that number 5 riders. Here we go. We do see Brad Lane and Josh Keeley now heading down pit road. So more green flag pit stops and more strategy calls out of these drivers. Tim Blankenbeckler also down pit side, and it's Juke joint frets for Pets number 10 ride. Man, this is gonna be interesting. Some of these fresh tires could potentially leapfrog a lot of drivers, and some cats could put themselves up towards the front of the field here, as we do see Nicholas Snyder and Jacob Groove both head down pit road now. That's our top 2 drivers in there on the racetrack. Do we see anyone else going to come down here with them, or do we see some drivers trying to run a little longer here, play a little bit more of that strategy call here, and maybe hoping to see that late race caution flag? And a lot of these guys a lap down out there on the speedway. Nate Maurer now going to consume this race lead. So the DSR Electric number 971 ride of Nate Maurer out in front in leading this race. Brian Chu back there in second, Brandon Ming in third. Nick Gardner back in fourth here as Nate Maurer is our race leader, and you can quickly see how these fresh tires can really affect these rides, as here comes that 45 machine quickly moving around that 51 and down low through 1 and 2. Gonna slide right on around that number 971 ride. And for Chris Gilbert, a big run right there, as we do see Nicholas Snyder just rolling back out onto the racetrack here. So for Nick Snyder, he's back there just on the lead lap here, just in front of our number 971 leader of Nate Maurer. So for Maurer, pit strategy here, a little bit of a call, and a lot of other drivers yet to still come back down pit road here as well. About our top, I'm going to say about our top 13 yet to come down pit side here. And for Jacob Groove, he was able to gain enough time there on Nicholas Snyder down pit road. Snyder unfortunately had a very slow pit stop, and he is now about 4.5 seconds back behind Jacob Groove. He came down pit road with about a second lead, so lost about 5.5 seconds there to that 18 ride of Jacob Groove, and that mistake down pit road could potentially cost him this race win here this evening. As things continue to cycle through, more and more drivers start to head down pit road. We're going to be able to see how far in front that 18 ride can go as Bobby Blair heads down pit road now here himself, as we did see Groove and Nicholas Snyder both come down pit road at the same time. They're on lap number 93, and they are separated here by a big gap out there on the racetrack. So this is going to be a bit of a wild one to see, and see how this kind of plays out, as even though we got a couple of drivers in between them and their pit stop here, as you see that 19 ride of Ed Koschersberger, the 23 of Kevin Woody. Unfortunately for these guys, they are still on the lead lap, still have to make that green flag pit stop in. For Nicholas Snyder, he's so far back there, he's still back behind these guys, but he is closing that gap, and he is chasing down that 18 ride of Jacob Groove, as we do see Cal Turberville head down pit road. Groove will now move up into position number 10 as Nate Maurer still rolling out there on the racetrack here now. You don't want to wait too long. You don't want to put yourself into a position where you can't make it here on fuel, or if you can, you know, how long can you stay out here? There is about a 22-second gap between Jacob Groove and this 971 rider, Nate Maurer. And right now, it is about a second or a little bit more that Nate Maurer is losing to that number 18 rider, Jacob Groove. So Groove and Snyder still both about a second and a half slower or faster than our race leaders, but a big enough gap is enough that they could maybe hold them back there at bay and keep themselves out in front with only 14 laps left to go. They're probably not going to catch them. They're probably not going to catch this race leader, and for Nate Maurer could potentially put him up into victory lane if he can make it on fuel and stretch it out there to the end. Same with Brian Chu, Brandon Deming, and that number 27 of Nick Gardner. And for Gardner, he's going to feel a little bit more confident here He made it to lap number 70, where our race leaders in front of him were down pit road on lap number 68. The 77 rider Brandon Ming was down pit road on lap 67, so he's got a couple laps better, not only on tires, but a couple laps better also in that fuel mileage as well for the Napa Auto Parts 27 ride. So we'll have to wait and see if Nick Gardner has the right strategy call, if they can make it to the end, if they're far enough ahead of Jacob Grube and Nicholas Snyder, as they got about Nick Gardner here. He's got about 18.5 seconds between himself and Jacob Grube, and down across the line, they will click off another lap here at Nashville Superspeedway. 12 laps left to go here, so it's going to get very, very interesting, as now you do see that 27 ride. He is going to move around Brian Chu right here, so he's going to make that move, find himself in front of Brian Chu. Chu will fall back now into third, as you do see that 38 ride going to battle his way back up towards the race lead here this evening, as that is the 38 machine of Joshua Ledoux. Actually looks like Ledoux potentially a couple laps down, so really trying to get himself back one lap down out there on the racetrack and hoping for another caution flag, as Nate Maurer, he does not want to see that yellow. He wants to continue to keep on cruising out there. Still 18 seconds between himself and Jacob Grube. His Grube has still about 3.5 seconds between himself and Nicholas Snyder. Now no one in between the two of these two cats, as Snyder going to look to try to hunt him down, as everyone else in front of him still has to come down pit road. They could be sitting in the best seat in the house here, seeing everyone have to make some late race pit stops. And you see K-Dub, Kevin Winker, he's up there, he's on this strategy call as well. He rolls in that 6th position. Zach Michael, Brandon Domingue, Brian Chu, Nick Gardner, and Nate Maurer are race leader here this evening. And for Maurer, just continue to pull farther and farther away here from Nick Gardner, so I'm not sure if Gardner is now trying to save a little bit of fuel out there on the speedway, trying to just be cautious and be patient here, hoping to keep himself out of trouble and hoping to see that number 971 ride start to struggle and fall farther and farther behind it. Still trying to keep that gap. There's only 9 laps left to go here in this one, man. 9 laps left of racing action here this evening, and these drivers are clicking the laps off in a quick hurry here. Some great racing action, a lot of green flag laps, as we saw the last caution flag come out around lap number 25. We went back green flag racing, let's say around lap number 28 or so, somewhere around there, lap 28-ish, somewhere in that area. Let's see if we can take a look back at it and see kind of where we ended up actually going back green flag racing here. It was lap 27. So lap 27, we went back to green flag racing here in this one. Ever since then, we've seen 2 different cycles of green flag pit stops. We've seen a bunch of different race leaders and people doing different strategies and everything else, and somehow or another, only those 2 caution flags there on lap 20 and lap number 25. We went back green flag racing there on lap 27, and for all these drivers, they have been virtually green flag racing now for almost about 80 laps, 80, 90 laps out there on the racetrack, and we inch closer to our checkered flag here this evening. And the Bronco Race Designs 113 here at Nashville Superspeedway. As leading the way, it is that number 971 ride. It's Nate Maurer out in front, as he's got about 0.8 of a second here between himself and Nick Gardner. Gardner has closed that gap, has reeled him in here ever so slightly. Brian Chu back there in third. Brandon Ming there in fourth, with Zach Michael, Kevin Winker, our top 6 out on the racetrack. Stephen Hines there in 7th, Mark Beverly there in 8th, as he's got the 31 ride. That is Rob McDonald, Trench right there behind him, and to his outside now, looking to make that move and trying to race his way back up towards the lead lap here this evening. For Jacob Grube, he's back there in 9th, and unfortunately, he is quite a ways behind a lot of these drivers. Still 3 seconds back of Mark Beverly, and still about 13 seconds back of our race leader, and he is quickly running out of time. And if these drivers can make it on fuel, it is this battle right here for Nate Maurer with 5 laps left to go. If he can make it on fuel, he is potentially going to put himself up and into victory lane. Those drivers that came back down pit road, I don't think can make it here and can't race their way back up to the front of the field quick enough. For Nick Gardner, he's got an opportunity here as he continues to close that gap ever so slightly on that 971 ride. And Nate Maurer, will have to wait and see if Maurer can keep him back there at bay, as Gardner may be able to track him down, but he's still got to figure out a way to get around him here. Late in this race is down across the line. It's 6/10 of a second between first and second. He was a tenth quicker there for Nick Garner that last lap around. So every single tenth, unfortunately, not enough for him to catch that 971 ride. He has to chew a big chunk out of it in a quick hurry as Maurer down the back straightaway into corner number 3. Nice and easy out of corner number 4. And for the 971 ride back down across the line, he will see 3 more laps left to go here in this one. So the fuel mileage race, the strategy here this evening. So far, buddy, a late race caution flag could potentially put this DSR electric ride up and into victory lane. And what a win that would be there for Nate Maurer. A heartbreaker back there for Jacob Grubin, Nicholas Snyder, Chris Gilbert. A lot of these drivers that went for the other strategy, went to the other side of that, and now are deep in this field. As we did see Jacob Grubin starting to catch some of these drivers that are still on the lead lap that haven't came down pit road as he rolls around the number 24 ride there. Stephen Hines now has that green machine of Mark Beverly right in front of him as Maurer down across the line here, nice and easy down through corner number 1 and 2 here at Nashville Superspeedway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cheer these drivers on as our closing laps are among us. It's down into corner number 3, nice and easy down and out of corner number 4. No caution flag in the air and down across the line. We will see that white flag fly one more time around here for the 971 ride, and look who's coming in a quick hurry. It is that 27 of Nick Gardner. Gardner putting the pressure now onto the back bumper of the DSR Electric 971. He gets up and scrubs the outside fence. Gardner looking to try to get one more opportunity down through corner number 3 and 4 is for the final time here this evening. It is Nate Maurer down and out of corner number 4. Gardner can't get there, can't make the move around him, and it's Nate Maurer who picks up the checker flag here at Nashville Superspeedway. Gardner settles in for second with Brandon Deming back there in third. Brian Chu, Zach Michael, Kevin Winker, Jacob Grube back in 7th with Mark Beverly, Stephen Hines, and Nicholas Snyder rounding out our top 10 here on the racetrack. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for our race winner, Nate Maurer. As Maurer, playing the strategy perfectly, able to hold off Nick Gardner late in this race and puts himself up and into victory lane here this evening in the Bronco Race Designs 113 here at Nashville Superspeedway. As he'll get ready to battle, he'll get ready to burn it down here on the front straightaway and get ready to celebrate with his friends, his family, his fans, and all of the pit crew down here at Nashville Superspeedway as the DSR Electric ride finds victory lane, finally getting it done here in this one. He's going to be pumped up for getting the win here this evening as we'll see if he does a little bit of a burnout here, if he's just going to chillax and relax and see if he can get this car rolling here. We'll see if he does a little burnout. Doesn't look like he's got a burnout in plan. He's going to save that motor, going to keep those ponies underneath of him as Dimitri Curtis says, congrats, Nate. And Tower Operator says, good race. Good race right there, man. Good race. Good green flag laps. We really only saw that one caution flag for incidents out there. We did see, obviously, the issue with the 78 ride of Matt Langley that brought out our initial caution flag here this evening back on lap number 20. Then on that ensuing restart, we saw the contact between the 23 machine and the 50 ride that sent the 50 for a little bit of a spin and a little bit of a squirrel down the front straightaway. We saw that caution flag come right back out, and then from that point on, our next caution flag never came. We only had those two, and we were able to keep on battling here and lay down a lot of good hard green flag laps out there on the speedway. Almost 90 laps, something like that, of green flag racing here this evening. Some absolutely great action there, and then the pit strategies and everything else by these other drivers late in this race, man, was absolutely wild to see, and awesome to see one of these finally play out like that and go someone's way here in this one. Is Mom, what's good, Mom? Mom coming in, showing the love here in this one. How are you, Mother? Mother coming in, says, good job, Aaron. I appreciate that, Mom, coming in, showing the love. My mother up in the chat, and Kev, Winker Nation. What's good, Kev? Kev says, finally a fuel mileage race of 23 spots, says K-Dub, as K-Dub able to come home just outside the top 5 here this evening. As hey, it's Kev says, night peace, night Kev. Have yourself a wonderful night, brother, and we can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack here this weekend, as we'll see you in action Saturday and for both races on Sunday. As we'll get ready to pull our race winner and the rest of our top 3 up and into the broadcast booth here for their post-race interviews. Hey, Nate, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
I got you, buddy. How you doing?
Not too bad, Nate, man. What a run. What a drive. Take us back through this one as obviously a lot of green flag laps and then some pit strategy here late in this race, electing not to come down pit road here that second time during this green flag run, and you're able to just use that fuel mileage, use the car late in this race to hold off Nick Gardner and put yourself up and into the Nashville Superspeedway victory lane.
I wouldn't say it was much of a drive. It was can't outdrive them Nick guys in here, so I had to outsmart them. And Nick Gardner, he saved there. He started saving before we did, and I ran out like 3 car lengths before the line there. But yeah, I thought for sure he was gonna get around me. Then he hit the wall there, last lap or second to last lap, I can't remember. But yeah, not much of a drive for me. Just I mean, I felt like I had like a top 10 car, but I just had to save fuel to hope to. Thank God everybody in here. I mean, everyone's pretty green, pretty clean in here. So the thing was able to go green there to the end, which kind of let me here.
Yeah, absolutely not seeing that late race caution flag. Definitely a bit of a blessing in disguise for you there, as that late race caution flag could have created a ton of chaos here late in this race, as we were going to see a lot of different drivers on different tire strategies, where we would have saw, Snyder and Jacob Grube and Chris Gilbert, those guys that have been leading this race and being out in front for a lot of this race. Unfortunately, roll back to the front of the field. You guys would have been back there behind it with the fresher tires, but with only a potential of green-white checkered or something late in this race, probably not a whole lot of time to get yourself back up here to snag this win. So it works out perfectly in your favor, works right down to the line, and able to hold Nick Gardner back there at bay as he was trying to get to your outside. He was hoping for that good run on the final lap. Unfortunately, just could not get enough to beat you here this evening. As Nate, you park it up and in victory lane, brother. Who'd you like to thank for such a great run and strong performance here this afternoon?
First and foremost, gotta thank everybody here that runs this league, all sponsors that keep it going. You up in the booth, teammates here at Southern Comfort Motorsports. Chu invited me here. I kind of let him win a couple weeks ago at Pocono, and just glad that karma came back around and let me win here at Nashville Superspeedway. But we had a good team finish here today, and keep on moving forward.
Absolutely keep on moving forward, having your eyes on that prize of the playoffs here and trying to win that championship here in your first season with the HCK Beagles, and now I believe this is your first win with the HCK Beagles as well. So a special one here tonight at Nashville.
Yep, thanks, buddy. You have a good night and have a good rest of your week.
Absolutely, you as well, Nate. Congrats on the win once again, and enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you back out there on the racetrack next Tuesday.
Yep, see you, buddy.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner. Is our race winner getting it done here in this one? Nate Maurer putting himself up and into victory lane. As now we'll get ready to pull in our second place finisher here. That 27 right, and Nick Gardner. I'm sure Gardner's going to be a little shooting himself in the foot there. Definitely going to be a little bit sad about not being able to pick up the checkered flag, especially after hearing that that car in front of him ran out of gas about 6 car lengths or so before that start-finish line, and how it could have potentially put himself up and into victory lane. Unfortunately, though, doesn't look like we have Nick Gardner in the Discord right now. We see Snyder and McCullich and some of these other drivers, but we don't see Nick Gardner in there. So doesn't look like we're actually going to be able to pull in the 27 ride here this evening, as he came home just inches away from picking up the checkered flag himself. He'll settle in that Napa Auto Parts number 27 ride back in position number 2. If we see him slide into the Discord, we will bring him back up here, but for now we will pull in our third place finisher, Brandon Deming, as Deming coming home here in position number 3. Good run, good solid drive there for that 77. Let's get him up here into the broadcast booth. Hey Brandon, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Did you copy?
Hey, I gotcha.
Brandon, man, solid run, great drive here for you, and obviously some track position, some fuel mileage, and it works out pretty solidly here for you as you're able to bring that 77 ride up and onto the podium here this evening in Nashville, man. Take us back through this race. So what's going through your mind now as the smoke settles here in Nashville?
I'm still a little surprised that actually worked. I know Nate came in a lap after, so did Brian, and I think they just got a little bit more aggressive trying to hold on to position, and I was able to save just that little bit more. And we were just talking, all three of us, the whole time, just like, are we still good? Do we need to cut this idea? Like, what are we doing? And all three of us just barely got in. I think all of us kind of sputtered as we hit the line, but it worked out, and it was kind of one of those, like, if we follow the leaders, we're, the old saying, if you follow the leader, you're going to follow the leader. So we just tried to do something different, and this time it actually paid off. Great night for the team, for SoCo Motorsports, because first, third, fourth, it's our best night that we've had all season for sure. And just thrilled that actually worked.
Yeah, it definitely worked out perfectly for you guys here tonight, and for Nate just sputtering there at the line. He said he ran out of fuel virtually about 6 car lengths there before that start-finish line, and that made it a lot closer of a race than I think he was really hoping for, as Nick Gardner almost got around him and almost stole this win away from him, but Nate able to hang on to it. Gardner there in second, and you coming home in a very solid third-place run here this evening with Brian True, your other teammate, back behind you in that 4th position, man. It's got to feel pretty good being able to finally get one of these fuel mileage races kind of in. We normally see those late race caution flags or something that just kind of breaks up the strategy here enough where it doesn't end up working out for guys.
Yeah, and it was kind of a close one too, because we were sitting there when we all started pitting at the end of that green flag cycle, and it was just kind of like, man, like, this is like maybe a lap or two too far, but we couldn't really stretch it a whole lot farther. But just getting that number right just paid off big. And we were kind of sitting there like, if this doesn't work, if a caution comes out, what happens? And then it's like, well, if a caution comes out, we got fresh tires, and not many others are going to have that. So kind of knew that we were cutting our losses there a little bit should that caution have come out. But I mean, that was dicey. I think all three of us were sweating for sure if we were actually going to make that work. And then seeing Nick, I mean, he had some tremendous pace and came in a couple laps earlier. So I honestly, I was sitting there in our team chat, just like, I don't know, like 27 might have this, just because he's a smart driver too, and he knows how to manage these, and just barely enough there for Nate. And obviously, as a team, we'll take it.
Absolutely, brother. Well, for yourself, another trip up and onto the podium here in the HCK Beagles Truck Series. Brandon, who would you like to thank for another solid run and great drive here this evening?
Yeah, hey, I think it's the first time I've ever gotten to say this in back-to-back weeks, but obviously, thanks to the league. This is about third season here now, and it's just been outstanding. It's good racing, good clean racing. I know last week wasn't necessarily that, but we kind of got back to our normal ways here this week. Obviously, you and I know it's a lot of time to put all this together, so that's always appreciated. And just this team, the Southern Comfort Motorsports team, like we've gotten along really well, really quick. Brian and I were in a team last season together, and then bringing in Nate, and I think we're really starting to gel and really starting to kind of put some performances together. I think we're communicating really well, and everything's just kind of working. Thankful for that situation as well. But and thankful to actually be up here for 2 straight times. I think this is really the first time I've done that, and it just took a little bit of a wonky one here tonight to get there. But hey, I'll take it.
Absolutely, brother. Well, another trip up here into the booth for you, and hopefully next week we'll see you right back up here and making it 3 in a row, and maybe for the 77 ride, up a couple extra spots and into victory lane yourself.
I gotta catch the teammates, so we'll hope for it. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, brother. Brandon, enjoy the rest of your evening, and congratulations again on that third place run.
I appreciate it. Go Stars, by the way. I know you're Canadian. You'll get that one, but sorry.
Yeah. I want to Winnipeg to move on, but they're not very clutch in the playoffs, unfortunately.
I was trying to keep up as we were racing, so now I get to put the attention back on that. But I
Perfect.
appreciate
No
you.
spoilers. No spoilers. I'm gonna watch the highlights after the game.
There you go.
Beauty. Enjoy the rest of your night, Brandon.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Brandon Domingue. Domingue coming home there in position number 3. Heck of a run, heck of a drive there for that 77 ride here this evening. It's my boy, Joshua Neal. What's good, Josh? Josh coming in. Drop that thumbs up here on the broadcast. How are you, Mr. Neal? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful Tuesday evening as we'll get ready to, unfortunately, call it a night here up in the broadcast booth. The racing action already coming to a close, man, after some absolutely amazing racing action, man. A lot of good, hard green flag laps, a lot of battling back and forth out there on the racetrack. And for the number 971, it's Nate Maurer who finds his way up and into victory lane, man. What a run and what a drive there for Maurer and all these drivers. Unfortunately, that is going to do it for us here this evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and showing the love here this evening. Every single one of you is coming in, showing the love with the likes, the comments, the shares, and if you guys just tuning in and watching, lurking there in the shadows and anything else, man, I appreciate each and every single one of you guys for tuning in and enjoying the amazing racing action here this evening. Again, huge shout out to our sponsors over at Bronco Race Designs for our race sponsors here this evening, and the Bronco Race Designs 113 here at Nashville Superspeedway, and the trophy going to that number 971 machine here this evening of Nate Maurer. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank y'all for watching, thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace and love, baby. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen.
Friends for Pets!
Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining light so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream, this is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might, push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight, racing on with all our might. Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining life so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Thrill the place, thrill the place. Throttle down. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engine scream. This is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might. Push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight. Racing on with all our might. All our might. Thrill the place. Thrill the place. Thrill the place. Beagles on the track, roaring engines never slack. Racing on, no looking back. On for victory's knack. Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining light so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream. This is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might. Push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight. Racing on with all our might. Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining light so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Thrill the place. Thrill the place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. In this high-octane haste, every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream. This is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam.